I'm Max Thompson.
I'm Ishmael Johnson.
I'm Greg Tepper.
And we are Texas high school football experts breaking down Friday Night Lights, the TV show, Season 4. All right, guys, quick recap on why we're doing this. We have a show, Texas Football Today, at texasfootball.com, every day at noon, where we talk about football in the Lone Star State. And our many, many awesome fans cannot believe we've never seen the Friday Night Lights TV show. We are amending that. We're in the home stretch now. We finished Season 4. Season 5's next week, and then we'll do one final recap show later. And this season, the last two seasons, I gotta say, not that bad.
Yeah.
The bar was set low, though. A summary of Season 4,
Mm-hmm.
in my own words, which are always amazing. Coach Taylor finds himself at an inner-city school in a town that is not remotely a city.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got tired of lots of miraculous wins, well, don't worry. This season is a lot of losing. We're treated to perhaps the two best performances on the show as Matt Saracen deals with a life-changing moment, and the entire series is improved by the arrival of Vince Howard. Landry gets stiffed by another beautiful love interest, fueling his bloodlust further. On the downside, Buddy Garrity's insanity barely exists, and we're all treated to a delightful abortion storyline. To Tepper's delight, we finish with Tim Riggins' most conflicting arc yet. Gentlemen, your reaction in 60 seconds to this season. Tepper.
In 3, 2, 1. I say this without reservation, without holding anything back, without any sort of sarcasm. This was an actual, enjoyable television experience.
Wow.
This was something I did not actively hate and dread. For the first time since we started this dumb review thing, I actually sat down and said, you know what? I will watch another one. That sounds okay. Now, part of it is because you ran a lot of the worst characters out of the paint.
Yep.
And I'm very glad about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they have somehow done something that I think could have been an even better just premise, which is cycle through different cast members and give this show a bit of life. That's what this show felt like. This show this week, even though this season had even less football maybe than any other season, it felt more compelling and the football felt more meaningful. And to that, I say, Peter Berg, I've been very hard on you, but this was actually very good.
You know how it's good? That took you 1:10 seconds.
Ooh.
So we know where
sorry.
you
Yeah.
stand. We know where you
Oh.
stand. Ishmael Johnson, you have the floor at your convenience.
All right. I loved this season. I thought this season was absolutely brilliant, from the characters to the storylines to the realism to me, it gave this show what it needed the most, which was a hard reset.
Mm-hmm.
From the environment, characters graduated, like you mentioned, got some characters that we weren't a fan of out of here, brought new characters that are enjoyable to this show, and to work with characters that we already previously liked. Yeah, this was a complete makeover, and it was for the better, and I'm so glad that it happened, because this was a much needed refresh to something that was already building to something good in season 3.
And now that we've lavished praise on this show, let's pick it apart.
Let's tell you where they screwed up,
Yeah.
by God. All right. We're going to dive right into the right or wrongs. First, right or wrong. We open with Coach Eric Taylor walking into the facilities, and it tells us it's August. Walking into the East Dillon facilities, he can't get into the field house. It's locked. The field is covered in garbage. I want to note that at the end of Season 3, that field looked not taken care of, but was not littered with detritus. Right or wrong, Coach Taylor would wait until August to check out his facilities.
That's insane. Yes. Like, I understand. Like, it goes back to really dive in, it goes back to one of my big overarching issues that they have in this show, which is who's running this school district? Like,
Right.
are East Dillon
Buddy
and
Garrity, I mean,
are East Dillon and Dillon in the same school district? Like, one would have to presume, right? It does happen sometimes that there are schools in the same city that aren't in the same school district. That does happen sometimes, but we are to understand that he didn't have to go and change. He's only changing schools. He's not changing school districts.
Right.
As a result, he is still an employee of Dillon ISD,
Right.
so to speak. Like this can't be the first he's ever heard of East Dillon.
Right.
They have a state championship.
Yeah.
Like this can't be the first time, but he just wanders in. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I've never even seen this."
To
part
back
of
you
town."
up, I don't know if you caught this later on in the season. There actually is a moment where a door closes and there is a DISD badge on the door.
Oh well.
So it further emphasizes your point and underscores the lunacy of it all.
Yeah. And by the way, like he's just not going to set up his office. He's not going to have any meetings with any
He just goes in. He's like, "Oh, this is a dumb play."
Like the idea that you're just going to like throw together a team like at the last minute. Like coaches, it's February 13th right now.
They're meeting their players now.
They're working on stuff right now.
Right.
Even newly opened programs, they are working on.
This
like,
scene should have been like this. Could have been some. This scene could have happened if it was just it's February, right? Or it's January. He just took over. It's like okay, now he's busting open the weight room for the first time and all that. No, it's August and he's doing that. It's like, dog, you got 3 weeks to put an actual team.
You have a team. You have a game in 20 days.
Theoretically, the last season ended in like May or June, right? The last season of television.
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to East Dillon. We know that. He walks out to the field. There was plenty of time to take care of this, which leads to the next right or wrong.
Yeah.
In general, the bigger part of this, right or wrong, the district would be suddenly organized at the last second. There are kids being pulled out of classes the first week of school and like getting letters in August.
You're going to East.
If they have decided to split the district, correct?
Right.
Those kids get a letter tomorrow, like in May or June,
or a year from now.
Right, a year from now. They are just randomly tugging kids back and forth, and also like pulling them out of the middle of class.
The military draft is like, come with me.
It
is. And like they never see them again.
They're going to like classes like someone died,
right? Yeah,
and then just ripping them out of the class when it's like, no, you would do this 8 million different ways.
Now, look, here's the thing. Here's one like I want to be clear about this. That there is definitely like a kernel of truth in the idea that when you are dividing a town and you're opening up a new school, there is definitely political jockeying as far as what parts of town are going to go to what schools.
No question.
That absolutely happens. But the idea that this would be like it feels like Dillon ISD didn't think opening up East Dillon through at all. Like there's like, you know what we should do? We should open up that old raggedy school now on the other side of town.
That's the other thing.
That seems fun.
Right. Like that's the other thing is like, yes, there are some districts that have, that are schools that are have and have nots. Right. We've seen, but usually it's not like, so drastic where it's like, one school just like doesn't have a phone that works. Like, it's like, it's not usually that bad.
Yeah.
This one's pretty bad where it's like, they just opened this like 2 days ago. There's
like 100%. There's the moneyed school and there's the non-moneyed school.
Right.
Totally get that. What I don't understand is just like how this thing is divided so willy-nilly. And by the way, can you just choose where you want to go? Because by the way, Julie changes schools in the middle of the year. Just like, you know what? I'm going to East now.
Right.
Oh, okay. Like you have school choice?
I do know that some I believe in Texas, if you have a parent that works, you can. Because I had a friend whose mother worked with in Manor where I went, and he lived in Austin, but so he could go. And so I do know if you have a parent that works in the school district, you can go to that school.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no, it was weird that she was like, "No, I'm just gonna go."
Yeah, she's just like, you know what? I want to go over to the raggedy school.
Yeah, and I was like, "Sure, I guess it's your choice." But.
Yeah. We're treated to an opening montage early on in which many of the coaches on the East Dillon staff can't take it. They got to quit. And so the Sears salesman becomes an assistant coach.
Appropriately named Stan.
That
was the first thing I thought. The first thing I thought was I started hearing Eminem in my mind. I was like, because
he started acting
because he does love Eric Taylor.
Yep. Very, very intense about a local high school coach. True or right or wrong, Tepper. Anyone could just come out and be an assistant.
Hey guys, In Texas high school football, in public school Texas high school football, you gotta be a teacher to be a coach. You have to have your teaching certificate and stuff. So, no, you can't.
Now there are some cases where it's like they have volunteers, like, some guys that are like video or something, or like they'll help with the freshmen, and it's kind of like he's not an employee, like he's not getting paid, but this guy looked like he was like the defensive coordinator.
This guy's like his right hand man.
Yeah,
like
and
Stan,
so like that doesn't happen.
Like Stan becomes Taylor's right hand man.
Yeah, you'll see like a former player come back and like on Tuesdays or something he'll run some drills, but he's not the linebackers coach.
Right.
Very interesting.
By the way, how desperate was he that he just he's like, sure, this guy.
The guy's like,
I guess this guy knows football.
I'll do it unpaid.
By the way,
I'll take you.
By the way, Sears, the new Applebee's.
It's pretty fun.
Right. It is very clearly
they're hanging out in Sears.
Be like, man.
Yeah, we're just.
Hey guys, after the game, you guys want to go hit Sears? We can sit on these couches.
You want to come watch some game film at Sears?
It's like, what? That was like, Applebee's made like a little bit of sense.
Sure.
But it was like clearly
Sears, man.
Clearly the budget dried up a bit.
A little interesting. Battered and bruised after one half, East Dillon is just a mess, and Coach Taylor decides to call the game there. Right or wrong, Tepper, Texas high school football expert, you can just call the game at halftime.
You can.
Yeah.
You can if you want. This is rare, and it happens sometimes. You will see this happen specifically at the 6-man level.
Yeah.
Where if it, like, let's just say that a 6-man football team has 8 players, which can happen, and one of them is hurt for the year, so you're down to 7, and then like 2 more people get hurt during the game, you will have teams be like, you know what, we just got to stop. Yeah. And so it's not now. I think that it sounds like they could have kept on playing.
Right.
Like they were just like, it certainly helps that they were getting drilled.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, they never really did a good job of hammering why.
Yeah, it's just like, we're gonna quit.
It was just like he kind of saw they were hurt, but they kind of seemed okay, that they wanted to keep playing, and they weren't. I mean, they were getting beat, but they weren't getting like, it wasn't like 60-0.
Right.
It was, I don't know. They didn't really do a good job of like, why exactly?
What would be a lot more reasonable? Now, here's the thing: if they literally did not have enough players to play,
sure, right,
they would stop the game.
Right,
that's fine.
Yeah.
And clearly, this is supposed to be some sort of non-district game, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But what you would more likely see is, let's say that it's because they're getting drilled and a few players have gotten hurt, right? Because they're getting drilled. You would see Taylor go to the opposing coach and the officials.
That's the other thing.
And say, running clock, second half.
Yeah.
Just keep this thing going. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You would see that before you would see them throw up the white flag.
Yeah.
So I would say it's not wrong, but it's a little bit unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're exactly right. They just didn't do a good job of explaining why suddenly East Dillon had to quit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like why they had to tap out.
Fair enough to all. We find out that Dillon is using a fake address for one of their players. And this has been going on for many years, which, causes a crisis in the Taylor household, that Coach Taylor could possibly be lying about this. But my favorite part is when he basically just pleads ignorance. Right or wrong, Tepper, that Coach Taylor's plea of ignorance would be acceptable for the UIL.
Don't think that's going to fly.
It didn't work with his wife.
Yeah.
No.
It's definitely not working with the UIL.
No, I want to give them some credit.
Okay.
This is definitely something that happens in Texas high school
Oh,
football.
you know it.
This definitely happens.
No,
I remember watching, like, this came up and I was like, oh, that's too real. Like, you guys are hitting it.
Like, it might not be an empty lot with a mailbox, but it's like, oh, you have
Yeah.
an aunt that lives there.
Yes, you have. Oh yeah.
Uncle that lives over there.
You definitely see that. It's like, oh, they just so happened to move in with another family member, or we just so happened to move right across the line,
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're setting up a PO box over here.
Yeah.
That does happen.
Yeah.
But when the UIL calls you to the carpet, they're not going to be. It's
I
not going to be
didn't
like.
know.
It's going to be like. You pull the Steve Urkel defense and be like, did I do that? And they're like, oh, Steve. Get out of here, you old rascal. No, that would not fly at all. The UIL ain't gonna play that game.
We'll get back to the UIL and conferences and districts in a minute, because there's
fine.
something that doesn't make sense with all this. I just wanted to point this out again. I'm going to hit this with the wrong buzzer, and it's fine. But if the insane media scrum at Dillon was too hard to believe, it's back at East Dillon. What?
Yeah. I don't know.
Again, well, like we hate to keep banging this drum, but I get that there's a lot of media that cover high school football.
Sure.
Like us, other outlets, and a lot of people cover high school football. You especially get covered if you're really good.
Yeah.
You do. Absolutely. That happens. But like if you're bad, then like it's sometimes very hard to get any notice whatsoever outside of like a box score in the newspaper.
Sure.
Yes.
Like
That's
it.
Yeah.
There are hundreds. I mean this, hundreds of teams in the state of Texas that go 2-8 every year.
Yeah.
Which is apparently, spoiler alert, that's what East Dillon goes.
Right.
Yeah.
And they get like no ink spilled on them.
Right.
No ink. Let's just, for an example, right? Let's just say Gary Joseph leaves Katy
Mm-hmm.
and goes to, doesn't matter.
Bad school, Texas.
Bad
Sure.
school, Texas. A 1-9 team from the year before.
Right.
Will stories be done? Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
How is
First couple weeks, yes.
How is he there?
How
Yeah.
is Coach Joseph doing over
Yeah.
there?
Or how do you land
10
there
reporters on the field?
too? Right. No.
No.
And the moment, by the way,
they're over at Katy still.
yes,
Right.
and the moment that they drop down to 0-2,
Right.
They
it
don't care.
is-
Nobody.
it is crickets
They don't
in
care.
East Dillon.
It was
Okay,
like we'll reach back at the end of the year to see how it went.
Mhm.
We'll give the year in review, maybe get his plans for the future. We don't get week 4, we're done.
Yeah.
Week 4, we don't hear from them anymore.
Even more than that, as the season goes on, we're essentially given the picture that East Dillon and Dillon are getting equal airtime storylines on the radio.
Yeah.
Nah, man. We're just like, in case you all missed it, East Dillon didn't win last week. And now, about the offensive
Right.
scheme, like that is what
JD
it would
McCoy was
be. Yeah.
I I'm trying to parse it to where it's like, okay, local paper, maybe they're trying to throw a bone to the other
Right.
team. You know, like
Right,
if it's the local radio
yeah.
trying to throw a bone to the other team. But like you said, like that's till week 4.
Yeah.
Like, they'll start, East Dillon season kicks off
Yeah.
now. No,
Okay.
we got this guy at quarterback, and we got maybe a little bit of a season preview. But other than that, you go 0-2, you're okay, cool, bye.
Right. Okay. So here's a perfect example. Okay. So we believe that we've identified what we think this town is most like, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We think it's most like San Angelo.
Correct.
Okay. San Angelo does have a local paper. They are a media market. They have TV stations, all this fun stuff. Okay. There's one school in San Angelo that's consistently pretty good.
Sure.
San Angelo Central. It's the big school there. It's the 6A team there. There are also 3 other schools there in San Angelo TLC, San Angelo Grape Creek, and San Angelo Lakeview. I guarantee you, if you were to go out there, like, yes, they're getting covered.
Sure. Because they're school in the area.
Right. But it's 60-20, 20-20.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It is not like they're like the idea that they would get 10 reporters out there for a bad team is just is ludicrous.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Speaking of ludicrous, there are cheerleaders at practice again.
Now, the only reason I think this is more believable
Where
is
else
that,
are they going to practice?
right, I was about to
Yeah,
say. So
that's
it's
fair
like
enough,
the gym might not have lights. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's the only reason this season's more believable than the
More
last
sense if they were in the parking lot.
Yeah.
than
Right, that's
on
also
the
true.
field at the same time the practice is going on. Sorry, I just had to. It just drove me nuts when I saw it. Okay, we left off last episode with this, and now we're following up. The Dillon schools we established got smaller, would have had to have dropped down in classification if they were 1,000 cap students, so what they roughly estimated for each high school,
Mhm.
right? So going from a 5A, a small 5A potentially, big 4A, to a 3A or something like that back then, right? Fellas, I don't know if you noticed. They're playing all the same damn
They're
teams.
still 5A.
They're still playing all those 5A teams. That's the only teams on the schedule for both teams.
Yeah, like I thought, I don't know, I forgot their first game, who their first game was again. South King, here it is, South King. I thought, okay, maybe they are 3A.
Right.
Because because the stadium's smaller.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is a new team. South King
Right.
was a new team. I was
Right.
like, oh, okay, maybe they did drop down. And then they play South Millbank, and I was like, oh,
No,
They play South Pines and then McNulty. I was like, oh wait, no, you had it right. Like episode 1, you had it right.
No.
Small item here.
Yeah.
Who from Cedar Park stole Peter Berg's girlfriend?
I made this note for later, but it is endlessly hilarious that the worst team on the school is the proxy for Cedar Park.
It's Campbell Park. Cedar Park, okay, for those who don't know, we hopefully have people from all around the world tuning in.
Yeah, right.
Hello. Yeah. Cedar Park is like no worse than like the third best team in Austin. Yeah. They have state championships. They are a perennial power. They are always very, very good.
Yeah.
And this is Campbell Park is Cedar Park.
Yeah.
They are Cedar Park.
Yeah.
It is the same logo. It is the same color scheme. They are the Timberwolves. It is everything. And of course, that's the game that
win.
East Dillon wins.
The toilet
bowl.
Yeah,
The toilet
literally
bowl.
dubbed the toilet bowl in the series.
Because we would call a game played by high school kids. Yeah, right. We would call a game played by high school kids the toilet bowl.
Right, we would absolutely slander these kids, right?
The adults would mock them as the game's going on with plungers on their heads.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Peter Berg went to Leander or something.
He must have. I'm telling you, Peter Berg has it out for Cedar Park. It's amazing.
We're getting back to, this is going to be a two-pronged argument here because I don't know who this person is, right?
Okay.
Conference, UIL, and district. They seem to have changed everything. Before, it was the district executive committee was always the people that came in. Now everything's being referred to as the conference.
Yeah.
My suspicion is that the conference is supposed to be the UIL.
That's what I kind of figured, yeah.
Either way, they can't decide. They can't play on East Dillon's field because it's vandalized. East Dillon doesn't want to play on Dillon's field because it's supposed to be a home game for them.
Mm-hmm.
The conference director, air quotes, makes the call on the field's playability.
Nope.
If the argument is it's the UIL director, who's coming in to make this decision, still no.
They have they have no, like, not only would they not get involved, I am fairly certain that would not even be their decision. Like, I don't think they have jurisdiction over regular season games,
right,
as far as that's concerned. That they just say, come to us when the playoffs show up, and then if you need us to get involved, we will. No. There's no.
By the way, is he coming down for Dillon versus East? Like, even if it was their jurisdiction, it's a 1 in 5 team versus a thing. It's like, I don't need to see it. Send me a picture of the field.
How many people work for the UIL?
Yeah.
I mean, 12?
Yeah.
12?
I mean, like, from
not driving
I'll say
down
like on the maybe the whole time, but like athletic side especially, like it's a small group. Like we know all of them.
Driving down for this regular season meaningless game. It means something to us because we're watching the season and we're like, oh, it's a big thing. They don't care.
No,
this game means nothing.
No.
Yeah. The whole thing's confusing.
Yeah.
Tepper, who would make that call? Both coaches can't decide.
Yeah.
Is
that a deck thing? Would that go to the other district?
Who gets brought in as the arbitrator?
Boy, that's a good question.
I know in some playoff situations, if they aren't the athletic directors, they'll let the athletic directors decide.
Yes.
I can't get along with this guy. Let the athletic directors.
So here's what would happen. Honestly, what would probably happen is that at that point, so you have an athletic there would have to be an athletic director over Dillon ISD. Right?
Yeah. And he would
get the final say.
Right.
Because theoretically that would be both Taylor and Aikman's boss.
Yeah.
Is they would get the say in that. I guess if they wanted to take it all the way up to the UIL, they could. Yeah. But the UIL is probably just going to swat that out to half court and say, figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know. Here's the thing. It doesn't come up.
Right.
No.
Like, we don't know because it very rarely comes up. They'll coaches are generally pretty affable towards one another and say, okay, let's figure out some place to play this game.
I know a few instances recently where two coaches haven't gotten along and they've just said, and they were big schools, which meant they weren't the athletic directors.
Mm-hmm.
And they just said, athletic directors, please figure
settle
this
this.
out.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I'm not going to play this game with this guy anymore. We're going to hit two things here. I was going to say one for memorable moments. We might as well knock them out at the same time. The right or wrong is, this is a big no-no.
Oh.
Coaches would object to practicing on Thanksgiving. Hell no, folks. That's a rite of passage.
I was about to say that is
you
a
want to be
tradition.
practicing on Thanksgiving.
That's a for schools that aren't necessarily state title, like caliber.
Yeah.
That's a mark for that next step is practicing on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You want to get to that point because that means you made it.
Yeah.
That means you made it to
at least 2 or 3
a point
rounds
in the
deep.
playoffs. Yeah. You're 2 rounds deep. You're something to really be proud of. That is a mark of accomplishment. You absolutely want to be practicing.
So do we want to get to the
Yeah, we'll get to the next part of it. Let's go ahead. So then in Texas, if you make it to Thanksgiving, you're at least 2 or 3 rounds deep.
general?
And
And usually, I believe this past year, that was the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
that's a great accomplishment,
Yep.
right? A lot of coaches will say if we can get 2 playoff wins,
That's a win.
we're doing great, man.
Everything's up from there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. There is some acknowledgement, briefly in the script when they're talking before this game, that Taylor says Dylan's thinking about their playoff win. Dylan's thinking about their state championship. I guess
This made no sense.
it makes no sense. If we're led to believe this is a playoff game, A, how did East Dillon get in?
They did
Number
not.
1. Especially when B, Dillon couldn't lose more than like 1 game each year, or they were going to not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, and
They're-
then all right, it's not a playoff game.
Right.
Well, then they shouldn't be playing on Thanksgiving. It should have been over weeks
that's the
before
thing.
that.
Here's the thing. I think they are operating under the because, by the way, we are to believe that Dillon's season is over, or I'm saying East Dillon's season is over at the end of this game too.
Yeah.
Right.
That is. I don't know.
I think they say it's a must win for Dillon.
Yes.
They needed this game to make
Yes.
the playoffs.
It's a must win for Dillon.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or West
okay.
Dillon, I guess.
So let's work. I've got the 2000.
They also don't stay consistent with that, by the way.
Right.
They call them Dillon and West Dillon interchangeably.
I've got the 2018 calendar up. Okay. So let's say the final regular season game of the year, is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Sure.
Okay. Let's work under that assumption.
Sure.
First of all, you ain't doing full contact practice on the day before. You're doing a walkthrough, and then you're doing some special teams. Anyway. Let's work through this. So then that would mean, and by the way, we have established as canon that you have to win 5 games to win a state championship in the playoffs.
Right.
You have to do 6, but whatever, that's fine. You have to win 5 games. Okay. Do you know what 5 weeks later would be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be December 28th. That would be after Christmas.
Yeah.
No way in hell.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. The calendar doesn't check out. And I understand and I appreciate the idea that they wanted to involve Thanksgiving in this because
Sure.
that is
It's a TV theme.
yeah, it's a TV thing, and by the way, that's also a part of Texas high school football canon and lore, and you want to be practicing on Thanksgiving. That's like as you said, it's a badge of honor to be practicing on Thanksgiving. But you had your opportunity, and that was in season 1 when you guys were going to a state championship.
Yeah.
If you're you're not gonna no,
And it's not even like this season. I guess it gives a reason for Saracen to come back and some things to happen. So it doesn't. Well, I was gonna say they don't make a big narrative out of it.
Right.
I think Vince, he has the dinner with his mother. I guess the only big plot point is that Saracen's able to come back, and it's a reason for him to come back. So I guess that's kind of the purpose of it. But other than that, it's really just it's just Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really odd.
I don't know. They it's very clear. Like I said, I can see what they were going for, but the problem is I know too much about this,
Right.
which is probably a great tagline for this entire series.
Yeah.
I know what they're going for.
But
I just know too much.
Final, right or wrong, unless you guys have any others.
No, I think
The rivalry trophy is good.
I don't even remember the rivalry.
It's a gold oil derrick.
that's right.
That when he hits the button, it actually does the.
Oh
pump.
my!
It was
God,
good
that's
until
right.
that point. It was good until the oil.
Is
I liked it.
I can't tell if I like it more because it does the dumb thing.
I thought it was.
And guys, there are traveling trophies, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But here's
Trophies are fine. I'm okay
here's
with
my
trophies.
question: where has that trophy been for the past 30 years?
They just came up with it for this one. It's fine.
Oh, for this one.
It's just okay.
Oh, we're just making a trophy for the rich white kids on our side of town,
Yeah,
on the
right,
west side of
seriously.
town to win.
Basically.
Can I?
I was okay with it until
There's
the
not really a right or wrong here, but I
Uh-huh.
do want to. I want
Do
to
you
touch
want to
on
save
this.
it for memorable moments?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's do it then. Memorable moments. My first one. We'll see. it's kind of like an overarching discussion.
Mhm.
But Michael B. Jordan as Vince Howard,
Mhm.
first guy that like really looks and really moves like a football player. I mean, Smash, pretty close,
Yeah.
but it wasn't always completely convincing.
I thought JD McCoy. He
Yeah.
looked like a groomed,
Mhm.
like someone who was. It looked like
His
Peter
throwing-
Berg went to him and was like, "Look, you need to look like a
Yeah.
quarterback."
Mhm.
His
More, especially more than Matt Saracen.
His throwing motion, I think, was helped by the fact that Matt Saracen was so bad.
Right.
Correct.
I do
Right.
think that's part of it. But I would just, and I would say it's not much different with Vince. He's still not a great thrower.
Well, but they make
but
that's kind of the thing.
Yeah,
It's supposed to-
he fills out the pads.
Yeah.
He runs the right.
He's supposed to not. He's
everything
supposed to not
about-
look like a passer.
right. Exactly.
I'm gonna throw a little bit of a challenge flag.
Okay.
Partially.
Okay.
Partially. First and foremost, I know we didn't get to see him play a ton of football.
Yeah.
But Jason Street did look like a football
That's
player.
true.
That's true.
That's
And
true.
any kind of
That's true.
everything about him kind of
Fair
looked
enough.
that way.
Fair enough.
So did Voodoo.
Voodoo. Yep.
Yeah.
Voodoo looked
Yep.
like a football player
Okay.
too, and he acted
All right.
like a football player.
Okay, you're right.
Tim
It's because of the
Riggins-
brevity. I didn't really think
Right.
about them. Yeah.
Tim Riggins looked like a football player,
It's just kind of a dude running around.
but did not like
Yeah.
he never looked athletic to me.
Like
Yeah.
he's always hitting people high.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's
stuff
always
like that.
he's always
Yeah.
throwing that crackback block that's going to send a guy off his
Yeah.
feet,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh, okay, like,
Yeah.
boy, you're really good at that one very specific thing.
Yeah.
How
You
are
can tell they made like make scenes where he just hits people.
Yeah,
And
it was.
like,
Yeah, I
okay,
just I
sure.
never bought Tim Riggins. Like Tim Riggins had the look, but I
Yeah.
never bought him as an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was kind of like a fun throwaway last season, and I had to bring it up because I knew it would drive you crazy. But Coach Taylor again is like, "Hey, we're out of cream for the coffee."
Dude.
This is like a running
Dude.
problem in his life.
All right, I want to poll the Texas high school football coaches, and I want to ask them
You should.
how many of you drink coffee correctly and how many of you drink coffee wrong, because I would bet. Boy, I bet it's 70% drink it black.
See, but you've stepped back a little bit because I think you heard me last week. I think they're going to disappoint you. I think they're going to disappoint you.
I
Yeah.
don't want to believe that, Max.
I know.
I don't want to believe
I
these
know.
people are my heroes. I don't want. Like,
Yeah. Especially if you
you
do
know.
a Twitter poll. The ones on Twitter, they're
Yeah.
especially suspect.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like you don't have to worry about like Cornell Thompson, but he ain't on Twitter.
I know
Right.
that's the problem.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who like their what's that stupid crap called? The creamer. There's a kind
Oh.
of creamer like that with stuff like the French vanilla.
Yeah.
Coffee
hazelnut-
mate.
Coffee mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to ask the question
You don't
anymore.
want to. Maybe you don't want
Too many
No.
they're too Keurig friendly right now, where it's just the
Yeah.
creams in the coffee capsule, so it's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
to.
Please get a little bit of hazelnut in my coffee. Gross.
Gross. Tammy Taylor has to kind of maneuver around Joe McCoy multiple times in this show, and she does a great job, and it's always hilarious. But she is Queen Petty
Oh, that was beautiful.
with the coin toss.
That was beautiful.
They tell her what to call heads. She calls tails, and they tell her that they don't want a ball. They don't want the ball. They want to defer, and she says they'll take the ball. They want to be on offense
Yeah.
first,
It's like something that's not detrimental, but just something that just pisses them off.
and walks off the field and says, "Good luck."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
that
it
was
was
extremely petty, and I'm
Yep.
very here
It
for
was
it.
awesome.
I thought
Loved
that
it.
was
Yeah.
that was excellent.
Speaking of Tammy Taylor, she'll come up a few more times, but a school's kids would totally get away with just booing their principal mercilessly
Yeah.
at a pep rally.
That happens. That happened at my high school.
Did it really?
Yeah.
And the principal didn't do anything?
He's just. I mean, like, what are they gonna do?
Man.
Are they
I
gonna
don't know.
suspend everybody? Like, it happens.
Oh,
like some
man.
kids just don't like the principal.
I always had a lot of respect for my.
I
authority
hated my principal, but I wasn't about to do that.
No, you got to go to different schools, man.
All right.
You will
And why
because,
won't- here's
because
my
again,
question.
it's the one time you can voice your opinion without. What are they gonna do? They're gonna stand there and hope you be quiet.
Why
Well,
would
here-
they? But why would they boo Tammy? Like
Well,
that's
beca-
my
well, because
thing.
of
Because
apparently
because she's the principal.
Because
Well, no,
she-
it was
no, she
because
shipped out Luke.
Yeah, it was after the Luke
Oh,
Cassidy thing,
yeah.
where it's like, okay, well, probably got around school, but I don't think they would boo her for a specific football reason. But like, principals get booed, like they're just,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's just because they're the principal. Like,
Boy.
All right. But here's my
check
question.
out
Were they-
check out Rebel Without a
Well,
Cause.
no, but
over
here's
here.
the thing.
we're different high schools. That's all I'm saying.
No, we did, and that's fair. I want your perspective. But here's my question: were y'all booing the principal and laughing?
Yeah.
Or were y'all booing the principal like we hate you?
Both.
Now I can
don't wanna
see a
say,
world
like-
where it's like I don't like that dumb principal, and it's hilarious that we can boo him and get away with it.
I think,
But this was
mostly
just
yes.
Mostly that.
mean.
Right.
Everyone
Most of
was
yes,
just angry.
Yes. Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of it is yes.
Otherwise, I'm like, man, you came.
Well, because you got to.
It's
some
just
of
teenage years were hard.
I mean, I never booed the principal. Let's be sure.
Oh,
My grandma worked in administration, so
okay.
that'll get around.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
But no,
You're not getting
like
away with that.
right. But I mean, so you gotta think about it. Like some principals come in and change like dress code or something, right?
Sure,
or to try to implement
That's
different
fair.
rules where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I really don't like this
Yeah,
person.
cracking
you
out
know?
on dumb stuff that you. Yeah. I
Right,
get that.
so
I get that.
Partially, yeah, mostly, yes, it's laughing because we can boo the principal
Sure.
and they can't do anything.
Sure. Okay.
But it happens.
By the way, I don't know if it's Cafferty or Cassidy.
Cafferty.
Is it Cafferty? I said Cassidy.
Okay,
Oops.
Luke Cafferty is Aaron Banks. This is the Mighty Ducks.
Ah,
Is it really? Oh wow!
Like this really great player on the team that you hate
the complete storyline
actually lives
Yeah.
in your zoning lines,
Yeah.
and so he's a duck.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actor.
Oh no, yeah,
No.
I was like, no, it's
The story,
not.
same storyline.
no, but it's the same
Yeah,
storyline.
it is.
Yeah.
It's
the exact same
It's the
storyline.
exact same storyline.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
You think you're a duck? You're not a duck. You're a hawk. Anyway, I don't know. My last season, it was Buddy Garrity's reaction to Tim and Lila making out and realizing that was a thing. That
Yeah.
was my favorite moment.
Mm-hmm.
Riggins bent over in the dress store is my reaction when that storyline became part of the show.
Oh,
Okay.
they were
It's the worst.
they
part
were
of this season.
throwing a no hitter.
It was
Like
Yeah,
they were
they were doing
straight. They
really
were
well.
throwing heaters. It was the 7th inning.
They were doing
Didn't
really
pull
well.
the pitcher,
the
and then they just cranked one right
the
at the park, and
the
you're just like, no.
16-year-old whose mom he hooked up with is in love with him,
Oh,
and he's pretty good about it, but it's like a weird friendship he feels like he needs to have. It makes no sense.
No, that whole storyline.
and then it becomes a part of the abortion discussion, but it's not him. It's
No.
Luke's.
It
Yeah.
really it served
Ugh.
the
Ugh.
Riggins love interest portion of the of it just basically like it felt like there was something in this actor's contract that said, "Yep,
women have to love me.
I gotta be getting around
Yeah.
every single season or I'm out."
And women have to love me.
Because if
They're
you
fi-
remove
their
that,
daughter and mother are fighting over
Yeah.
him. Basically,
Yeah.
it's like, what is happening?
It's the weirdest.
Like I
freaking-
said, this season was flawless to me
And
in terms of what it was trying to do until that moment.
it's just another tale from jailbait county where it's like
Yeah.
we're all just looking around trying to find some person we should not be doing that with.
Yep.
I don't know. That was
the storyline in 3 vignettes. If it was just like 3 scenes, would be annoying.
Right.
We are
There's a
beaten over
through
the
line.
head with
Is the entire
an
like the
endless
arc
amount
of the
of
last
shots
half.
of Becky longing for Tim to love her. And I'm just, it's not even a Tim thing. I'm annoyed that I have to keep watching this 16-year-old be in love with him.
Yeah. Tim's
Yeah.
reaction's my reaction.
You're
Stop.
like, stop.
Like,
God,
go.
like
you know,
yeah,
go
just
away.
like posterize her. Be
Yeah.
Like, nope, out of here. Bye.
Enough of
You're
that.
pretty. I'm glad you like me, but no. Are you
Right.
crazy?
No.
Right.
And that's coming from Tim
No,
Riggins.
Right.
I'm into older chicks.
Oh.
Have you seen this show?
Good night.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing that Tim Riggins is now unequivocally legal, and he has to go and find someone that's not.
Yeah.
Like, we cannot have a
Yeah.
truly consensual relationship on this show
Right.
in Jailbait County.
It's
Dillon, Texas, the seat of Jailbait County.
it's bad. It's so
God.
bad. Tammy won't turn off the radio station when they're talking epic amounts of trash about her and her husband.
I think that's just a thing this family likes.
Oh my
Eric,
God,
they
they're
love-
gluttons for punishment.
Yep.
We've talked about this multiple times. Eric keeps listening to the trash until one day finally he turns it off, which is
Yeah.
astounding that
Right,
he had
right.
the willpower to do it.
Right.
But then his kids in practice are like, Coach, we hear what they're saying on the radio, and he's like, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Pot meat kettle.
Yeah,
What the hell?
very hypocritical.
This dude can't not stop listening to this crap.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tammy she falls to tears in the car.
Yeah.
They
They just love listening
she's
to
screaming at
people
the
yell them.
radio. Like,
Yeah.
Also, at this point, on a larger context, their cars are constantly vandalized.
yes,
Their front yard is constantly vandalized. They are put under the gun by everyone in both school districts. why do these people want to stay here?
No, I don't know.
No, right?
I don't know, man.
What are they
like
fighting for?
You have a state championship.
Sure.
You have a state championship. You got plucked out. You have college experience.
This is
A little bit.
insane.
You have college experience. You can get not any other job, but you can get a lot of other
There's some other
jobs.
successful schools in this district alone.
Yes, you can just
Go build up
move.
Campbell Park.
Just move. Dylan clearly doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's just like for a town that like they don't appear to be from, and they don't appear to be like born and raised there.
Nope.
So what affinity do you have for this dumb town that doesn't like you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I'm sure lots of parents love their kids. I wouldn't love my daughter enough to keep putting up with this.
Right.
No.
We're moving somewhere else where people are actually going to be nice
Sorry.
to us. This
Yeah,
is
and
crazy.
especially by the way, now that your boyfriend's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
What
sorry.
are we doing here?
Spoiler
Jeez.
alert.
Yeah, right. Come on. I just love this is like the most random dumb thing on earth. The Dylan Gazette quote unquote conference player of the week. And they give it to both Vince and JD McCoy in the same week. I mean, theoretically in this town, this is an award that would only have ever been given out to a Dylan Panther.
I was about to say,
every
Dylan.
week.
Yes.
It's like the Dylan Gazette Player of the Week.
It's the Dylan Player of the Week,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's
It
the
is.
Dylan,
It's
at
the
best,
fine.
Gazette
yes.
Player.
It's the Panther of the Week.
There's
Yeah,
no way
right.
in the history of the Dylan Gazette that McNulty has a player that's the conference player of the
No.
week.
Right.
No.
Nope.
And the
I
other
just-
thing,
Yeah, that was weird.
the other thing, I thought it was the Dylan Daily News.
Everything changes.
So
Hey,
do
it
they
could
have
be
two
bought out.
newspapers in this town?
We know what era of media we live in. It could have been bought out.
Very confused.
Oh, dude.
This
Too real, man. We're having fun here.
I'm just saying.
another thing that has nothing to do with right or wrong, but just my pure like random outrage with the show at one point was, they're having this time where like Coach Taylor's drinking a little too much late
Right.
at night, and like there's some crises at work for both of them.
Mhm.
And then, like, Tammy's having a dark night of the soul, and the tip of the iceberg, that the breaking point, is she hears the McCoys got divorced. Well, the McCoys got divorced.
Yeah.
Of course they did. They were terrible people who shouldn't be together.
Correct. That's
But
the most
she has-
obvious. That's the most telegraphed
She's
divorce
so
in
shocked.
television
Yeah.
history.
She's like, oh, God, if the McCoys could get divorced. What?
It was like, you mean the guy that beat his son in public? Like, yeah,
What?
okay. And the mom that was absolutely floored and
like-
shocked by that? Yes,
What?
they
It's
got
like-
divorced.
It's like, oh, did you hear the bunkers got him from you? Well, yeah, because he's a racist. Like, why are you shocked by this? They were the worst couple, and clearly they were not a good fit for one another. And what?
The single greatest moment of acting in this series for me by Coach Eric Taylor is the moment when Glenn confesses to kissing his wife.
Yeah.
And he's both amused and enraged at the same time. And that cackle comes out of him while he's smiling.
There it was too perfect. That whole little. First of all, come on, Glenn.
What are you doing, Glenn?
You're
you
never
doing, Glenn?
you're never telling him that ever.
What are
in
you
your
doing,
life.
Glenn?
Never, Glenn.
But here's the thing about this: is that you're so right, because that's such a fine line to walk, and it was also very well written. That like it became very clear that that's not the first time Tammy Taylor has been kissed like that,
Right.
and kind of not expecting it,
Yeah.
and she's clearly not offended by it. She's
Right.
like, okay, well, let's
She
just not
handles
do.
it marvelously.
She
Yeah,
handles it
let's
perfectly.
not do that again.
She handles it perfectly. And Eric knows well enough that this is not going to break up a relationship. It's
Right.
like, okay,
It's
this
Glenn.
drunk guy, it's
Yeah.
Glenn.
Yeah,
It's
this
Glenn.
guy.
His name had to be Glenn.
Yeah,
like,
right.
like it's not going to break up a relationship. And so they all it's like an instant joke between them.
Right.
Like an instant joke, which again goes back to something we've been saying the whole time. The relationship between Tammy
it's
and
perfect.
Eric is
Yeah.
perfect. It is his
His line of now I've kissed Glenn by proxy or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's
Like
great.
that was
That was a
That's
great
great.
line.
That's great. It's an instant joke, and that's
Yeah.
perfect. That's exactly how if this was a real couple, they would have played it.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty great. On the more serious side, I didn't have this on the list, but I think this is probably the best place to talk about it.
Mhm.
I have to say, there are no spoilers in this because you've probably seen this show, and if
Sure.
you haven't, I
If
don't know
you're
why,
not-
I don't know why
yeah.
you would be enjoying this if you haven't seen the show.
Right.
The episode of Matt dealing with his father's death.
No. Fantastic.
That's an unbelievable episode
That
of
is a
television.
fantastic
The
episode.
way they handled lots of different moments, unbelievable. And my only script gripe, which is what we're transferring into here with that moment, and this has nothing to do with my original script gripe, what we're talking about, is that everyone understood how effed up that was for Matt. All these core central characters around him realize they know him well enough to know how hard his relationship was with his dad in the first place.
Yeah.
They know what he's going through at the funeral. They were all witnesses to everything. They know what happened when he opened the casket, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He is rocked. If this is your best friend and he has to go AWOL, you don't care. I don't care. I just want to know you're okay.
Yeah.
If I think you're okay, and I think they all assume he is, there's no other, I'm worried something's wrong, like he's dead. No, they're just mad he didn't say goodbye.
Yeah.
That's my, so they turned a
yeah.
great episode, and then in the last five episodes of the season, it becomes this thing like, he's a jerk for not saying goodbye.
Like
well,
Julie's
were you there? Because I saw everything.
Yeah, like the line that really bothered me was when Julie said, he called his mom and his grandma. He's like, of course he did.
Yeah.
Like,
it's his mom and his grandma.
Like, I get it. You guys were together for a while, but of course he's going to call his grandmother who's slowly dying of dementia. Like, yes, of course he's going to call her to let her know.
Y'all were also broken up for part of season 2.
Because you stunk.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Checkmate.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
but like, yeah, no, that part, yeah, it was like, come on, you can cut him some slack here. Like, you can cut him a little
But
bit
I
of
will
slack.
say,
That episode was fantastic, though.
Michael B. Jordan, as a kid in this, acts circles around 95% of the people here, and he does it he's batting 500 every day.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He's smoking line drives and hitting bombs.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable. And that single episode, Matt Saracen, that character, Zach Gilbert.
Yeah, it was Guilford.
Guilford. That's right.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable. It got a little dusty in the Thompson house. Got a little dusty.
Brilliant. He was
really good. He was excellent.
And I hated most of the first two seasons.
Yeah. Every scene with him in that episode was like a range of emotion, right?
Yeah.
Shock. At the end of the episode before, it's shock. And then it's grief. And then when he finally sees him in the cat, and then
the walk home with Coach Taylor.
The walk home with Coach Taylor. The dinner was probably my favorite part of that episode because he is flustered, panicked, and he's trying to balance like 20 different things. He's like, I can't break down here.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that episode was fantastic.
So I feel like we do a lot of bagging.
I thought this was, and this is saying something because I've always thought that overall the show has been pretty well acted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Overall.
Sure.
A lot of my gripes for the show have been writing and just like a lot of the details on high school football, obviously. Right. But the acting has never bothered me. Yeah. But the acting was so good in this season. Like it went from like a good acting show to like really great.
Level.
Yes, everyone was good.
Anyway.
Except for the moment Lila showed up.
Well, so script gripes, right? We've already praised this one this season more than we ever will. The script gripe we already talked about. I don't know why Becky needs to be a part of this.
I don't know either, and
I'm dreading the fact that they're setting something up for season 5.
Well, I think it's supposed. I'm wondering if it's supposed to be like if she was there for Tim Riggins to show that Tim Riggins is changing or trying to change.
Sure.
I know typically he would have hooked up with her and he sees himself more
Didn't give a damn.
as a brotherly figure. Yeah,
I think I know what they're going for with her in the sense that because Julie is now grown up, they want to establish the female character who is being forced kind of to grow up too quickly.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Outside of her. I think I know what they're going for. But I did not like that. This is not the place to hash out abortion talk, but like, I could have done entirely without that scene. Just without that whole thing. I think that overall they handled it in a way that was okay. But the fact that this was, again, we have now had a football show that has featured murder, chop shopping, and an abortion. It's like I could have done without that.
Okay. Good job. Yeah. Spotted. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It'll relate to Spotted.
Okay.
So.
Spotted. Mike Leach.
Mike Leach is showing up.
And he's not Mike Leach.
I will say the scene definitely knows it's Mike Leach. The scene like pans over, is like boom.
He is being Mike Leach.
Yeah. He's not a random extra.
If it actually was Mike Leach, Coach Taylor would obviously know who he is.
Sure. He's like, you know, I get to Lubbock.
It doesn't matter. He got to do his weird bohemian life.
You lost your pirate.
You got to swing your sword. You know how to swing your sword?
Lost your pirate.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated if, what if just Mike Leach, if I may offer some fan fiction.
Sure.
Oh, okay. What do we got?
Mike Leach gets fired at Texas Tech, and he takes the job over from Wyatt Aikman at
Wade Aikman.
At Dillon.
West Dillon.
And suddenly, Eric Taylor finally has an actual coach to coach against.
A worthy adversary.
Worthy adversary. It's
yes.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I'm here for it. Also spotted Sam's Barbecue.
Yeah.
East 12th
East
Street
Austin, baby.
That
place is 1 mile from my old house.
Yeah.
Is it good? I've never been.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Old school.
He's also fighting, but he's also reportedly refused land offers for his property. He wants to keep the
good for him.
That's a place that
East Austin.
It's famous. It's like Stevie Ray Vaughan used to eat there all the time.
It has MLK mural of MLK on the side of the building. It's
awesome.
Yeah.
Lamb's Candies.
Lamb's Candies. Yep.
That's a very Central Texas thing.
Yep.
You don't see that up here anywhere.
Let's see what else. Fran's barbecue. Fran's hamburgers.
Yes, Fran's hamburgers was there. Yeah.
There were 2 locations. In Austin, one on South Congress and one off 290.
That sounds
the one on South Congress is now a Torchy's.
Okay.
And everybody probably more around Texas will know Dan's Hamburgers. Which is the both of them were married, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Pretty funny. Riggins.
Mm-hmm.
He was an Under Armour All-American.
Yeah, I know. Apparently. He just pulls out that uniform. I was like, wait,
the Riggins brothers practiced with East Dillon one day to kind of toughen him up.
Yeah.
And he's just wearing an Under Armour All-American uniform. I mean, good for him.
But it's like
we are never led to believe.
Well, I guess was Under Armour as big?
But it doesn't.
I know it doesn't matter. But was Under Armour were they getting the 5-star guys in their All-Star game at that time?
Under Armour is getting a lot of plugs in this season. Let's not first off,
right.
Whole
so yes,
uniform thing. But Smash wasn't Under Armour.
Was he okay?
But Riggins was.
Yeah.
So Riggins was an Under Armour All-American. Smash wasn't.
Okay.
And so he can't get an offer from
Texas
anywhere.
Just
yeah.
You're just so he is the one anonymous Under Armour All-American ever. Yeah. Guys, Under Armour All-American is essentially just become, and maybe it wasn't then. I don't know the history of the Under Armour.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if it was then.
But that whole idea, the whole idea behind it is just this is just a prospect
glorified combine.
Yes, that's what it is. You're not going there. You're not going there because you're just an outstanding young football player from a small town. No, there are outstanding young football players who are not great prospects that are not Under Armour All-Americans. Right. It's for prospects. That's why. That was really.
I do know the land Riggins buys is, I believe, across from East Metro Park in Manor.
Mm-hmm. No, really?
Yeah, East Metro. I think East Metropolitan.
Okay.
Out just outside of the city limits of Manor. Also, making some Wire connections because, of course, we have Michael B. Jordan.
Right. Thank you.
In the Wire.
Right.
We have Lawrence Gilliard as well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, D'Angelo
Barksdale. He is the community leader that Buddy Garrity and Eric Taylor go to.
Where's the boy string?
Yeah. So we got some powerhouse acting.
We really did.
Where's Wallace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. Okay. MVP. Who you got?
It's got to be unanimous, right?
It's Michael B. Jordan.
It's Michael B. Jordan.
It's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Vincent Howard is spectacular.
Vince Howard is very clearly the most fleshed out, the most conflicted, the most and the most well acted. If you want to, you were talking about a great the great scene with Saracen with his dad dying, which was excellent. I would counter that, and I would say another great one is when Taylor goes to Vince's house to bring him back, and Vince basically calls him out and says, "If I got hurt, would you be here? Would you would you keep coming around?"
Yeah.
And Taylor doesn't respond because he knows in his heart what the answer is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the answer is, I might try, but probably not.
Yeah.
And that was a really spectacular moment made so by Michael B. Jordan, by Vince Howard.
Yeah.
He's, I think, undoubtedly the MVP of the season.
Yep, easily. Only one gripe with him. Stole Landry's girl.
He did steal.
He just walked into the scene and is like, that was the whole season. I'm like, oh, they're getting together.
But he
that whole season
didn't steal her.
It
just happened.
Yes, I know it just happened, but like
I would say his mom was a bit more nefarious in that plot than he was.
maybe
His mom was plotting.
He didn't need to go to Landry and say, "You're a good guy.
Yeah.
I like that you're with." Like, and then like the next time he sees her, he's with her.
I think that's fair.
I understand, but like I was like, this show's just dunking on Landry.
You're really-
Like they give him the moment at the end, obviously, but like, man, they make him a murderer. They
dunk him.
Tyra leaves, and Tyra, slings him around at first, and I'm just like, they couldn't even give him this.
Yeah,
Couldn't even give him.
They
that.
didn't. They didn't do that. But I took. See, here's why I don't have as much of a beef with him in that situation.
Sure.
I took the scene at the barbecue place where he tells him that as he knows he's about to go murder someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's Vince is.
That's fair.
Himself.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
that's
this
fair.
is probably the end for him.
Right.
He's emotionally in this place where it's like
There's no coming. I'm either
I've
going
got to go down that path.
I'm either going to die or I'm going down this path, and I'm never. This is my
That's
life
going to
now.
end it for me and her.
Right. That's
so
fair.
At least it's you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the reason he doesn't end up doing it.
Yeah.
And he comes back. So Landry's just one of those guys.
Justice for Landry.
That's fine. Speaking of Landry, any theories on who he's killed this? We never see Tyra. He calls her.
Well,
Santiago's obviously dead.
I was about to
Well,
say
yeah,
Santiago.
that's a season ago.
That's a season ago.
So who is he added to the body count?
No, I don't say Tyra because.
Well, by the way, end of the season, he's going off to more fertile hunting grounds in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's listen, man. There's a lot. You can get a body count up there in Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who has he? Killed?
I mean,
I'm just saying.
haven't seen Street.
Haven't seen Street.
Riggins' neighbor from a couple seasons ago.
Oh, ooh.
We
The
haven't
meth dealer.
Yeah, the meth
Yeah.
dealer.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm saying he killed Tyra.
Yeah, we didn't see Tyra the whole time.
Maybe,
She
but
stood him up again. She stood him up again.
Yeah, that's a
She
good
stood
point.
him up at the rest stop.
Because that's the thing is that like she stood him up and then he his blood ran hot and he's like, well, got to get to murdering. It's the only way to quench my bloodlust.
I'm just saying. Also,
Then I got to get back to kicking 47-yard field goals, even though I just started kicking this year.
I am pretty sure that the assailants who shot at Vince were masked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wait, were they? They were masked.
Do you remember what they looked like?
So you're saying Calvin?
I remember not. I
saying
remember
Calvin?
seeing
I'm
Landry.
saying-
Let's put it that
I'm
way.
saying Calvin might be on the list.
I don't hate it.
Look, you're gonna have to prove me wrong.
I'm just saying. I don't remember seeing Landry.
We've got a prime suspect.
I think you're right. We have a guy with a prior. You know what I mean?
Just throwing it out there.
He has a history.
Who's the worst?
So this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to go with Riggins and not Tim.
Billy.
Billy Riggins kind of sucks in this season.
Yeah, he kind of ruins
I
everything.
he was obviously more of a minor character in the earlier seasons. He stepped more to the forefront.
Yeah.
And last season and this season.
Yeah.
He steps more to the forefront. And I don't like him.
No.
I don't, I understand that he has to be a bit of a plot device to set up the ending for Riggins and stuff like that. I presume he's going to the electric chair where he deserves.
Yeah.
But but Billy Riggins, I did not care for in this season.
Especially, I think you're more upset that because Billy exists, it sets Tim up to be a sympathetic figure.
That's 100% true.
Yeah,
That's absolutely true.
I don't
It's like
even think
at the
he's
end, I was
gonna
like,
take the fall,
because that's the thing is at the end, I was just like, that's a good move, Riggins. Dang it, golly! Oh, you did it to me, Berg.
Yep.
I would say Billy Riggins.
That's fair.
Billy's pretty bad. I want to go with somebody else besides Becky.
It's okay. I'll be the Becky person.
Okay.
You don't have to be the Becky person. I
might go Becky's mother.
Yeah.
Just because, like,
what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing? And
then you're trying to run Tammy out of the paint because she gave your daughter some advice.
Right. What else? There's the whole thing of her trying to kick Tim Riggins out, and it's like, okay, yes, I understand. You caught them in bed; they weren't doing anything, but yes, the initial image, but like he's given you no reason to think that anything's going on, and so it's like, but she's just I guess she's just supposed to be irrational and erratic, and so
she's kind of an unstable person,
right? And so like she was.
But here's where I'm going to throw out why Becky is still the worst, because we already mentioned why it's annoying that she's just constantly pining over Riggins, right?
Oh, also Cafferty's mother as well. That's a very
but she's like Joe last season. She's there to be a villain.
Sure.
Becky is supposed to be like, I don't know what she's supposed to be. We already talked about the reason we don't like. She's a pageant contestant.
Yeah.
Strike 2.
Mm.
Never forget, and this is strike 3.
Yeah.
How horrible she is to Luke.
Yeah.
Luke
Yes.
is very nice.
Right.
And, like, could
Yeah,
not
Luke
be
is-
more
Luke
of a
is-
gentleman to her.
Luke
Right.
is flawed, and I understand if you don't like Luke.
Mhm.
Right.
But-
But, like, their relationship,
Yes.
I don't know what more you want out of that kid.
Right.
100%.
And she is a nightmare.
He's like,
She
I'm
is.
here for you, whatever you decide to do. And blah,
Even
blah, blah.
before
Keep
the-
in mind, this is going against his religious beliefs.
Right.
Correct.
Right? He's
Right.
raised by his parents, and his parents are obviously anti-abortion. And so it's like,
Yeah.
he's... For someone who was raised like that, he's like really sympathetic to whatever she wants to do. And it's like, okay, that's
Right.
what you should want.
Right. And even before we get into that situation,
Yeah.
he basically has to, like, charm the hell out of her. For
Right.
her to just be nice to him.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just amazing.
She's the
That-
worst.
yeah.
Although, can I just a small...
All right. Throwing in something here.
Julie does like Twilight.
Well,
Just
I
throwing
think-
that up.
I think we
just
gave it-
throwing that up.
don't we all kind of agree?
And she
we-
can't remember when the Battle of
I think
Stalingrad
we-
was.
I
Am I
think
right?
Yeah, right. We gave up.
In the Blitz, the history, whatever the Blitz it was.
We gave up.
The academic
Smackdown.
Smackdown or
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah.
I think we can all agree we gave up on Julie a season and a half ago anyway. So
Yeah.
it's
Good
fine.
point.
It's fine. What did you love?
Okay, this is where I'm going to insert the thing I was going to talk about.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Here's what I loved. I loved that they did not take the easy way with Taylor going to East Dillon.
Mhm.
That, and I am entirely out of my depth in saying this, but it would have been really, really easy for them to portray Eric Taylor as, and I mean what I'm going to say when I say this, the white knight
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
walk into this
Yeah.
downtrodden minority neighborhood and
Yeah.
be the guy who helps them all become winners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oh, look what happens when
Yeah.
you just believe in that. Like, for example, I was reading the AV Club they were doing season kind of episode recaps, and one thing they talked about was The Blind Side.
Yeah.
And The Blind Side is a fine movie, and it's okay if you like it, but in a lot of ways, it just sure seems like a nice hour and a half long pat on the back to
Yeah.
the parents for doing something nice.
Mhm.
They could have gone that direction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they didn't.
Yeah.
And I thought that was excellent. They showed what a struggle it was. They embraced the fact that there are going to be these differences between these cultures,
Yeah.
and the differences that you're not having this white hero riding into a minority neighborhood and saving the day. I thought that was great.
We're kind of programmed by all of these storylines to expect to kind of be there with Eric Taylor and expect all these people to just give him a pat on the back every time he does one good thing.
Yes.
And they do not.
No, they were like, because
They're like,
I
you
love.
just got here, buddy.
I was about to say, I
Yeah.
loved that. I love the way the community treated him.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want to turn the lights on at the park. It's like, what the hell's that going to do?
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, the problem's not the lights. Like, and so
Yes.
his ideas to fixing the community,
Yep.
the community's like, what is that going to do? Okay, cool. What's that going to do?
Yeah.
That's great. Like, talk. You could try to fix these problems by yourself, or you can talk to us
Yes.
and get involved and do
Yeah.
things that way.
Bingo.
It's not him by himself. He goes to community leaders. He goes to Jess's father running
Yes.
the barbecue, and it gets him to help with Vince and kind of how he's supposed to be coached. And so it's not just him coming in, swooping in and
Yeah.
saving the day. It's him, asking for help. And by the way, still not getting it perfect. Like they're
Right.
2-8 or 2-6 or whatever they are. They're still losing, but he's doing things incrementally and not just all by himself either.
Yeah.
So no, it was really well done.
Yeah, no, they did a great job. And the principal keeps trash talking him almost to the very end, which
Yeah.
is hilarious. No, I have to say, this is the least successful team, but this is the most I enjoyed any season.
Yes,
For sure.
absolutely.
Also, a quick shout out to Joe McCoy, because he was a comic book villain, and I loved every moment of
the
it.
other thing about
Every
this-
scene was just him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever he
just
looks over
no
those,
matter
he looks over
what-
those glasses.
No matter what, he's just
Just wanna
smiling.
punch him in the face.
It
I also
is-
thought that they did a good job of turning JD into a villain.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
JD
This is what happens when you're that kind of parent.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 3, JD was just you could be like, oh,
Deer in the headlights kinda kid,
maybe
you know.
he's a good kid and he's
Right.
just got a bad dad.
Right.
He's just got a case of bad dad.
Nope.
No, it's like
Kid's
this
a
is what
jerk.
happens when you have a bad dad. Is
Yeah.
that you become like that. So,
Yeah.
I thought that JD McCoy was excellent too.
Would you change anything other than removing Becky and the abortion subplot?
I mean, yeah, obviously. You know what? I did not care for the Matt Saracen goes to the junkyard artist
Well,
storyline.
We have to find a way to break them up, though.
well,
think
you
that's
do,
part of
but
it.
I think it
go
also.
to Chicago.
I think it also like was a good reality check for Saracen too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because like it was, they kind of randomly established in season 3 that he's good at art, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he didn't need that reality check where it's like, hey, artists struggle, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so it was like, we're gonna show this. Obviously, it's not all scenarios are like this, but we had to show this guy who's completely isolated
Right.
with just him and his art, and it's like, hey, sometimes you got to do that, or
Yeah.
sometimes
And to
you
your
do that
point-
if you're an artist. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting reality check for him. Where it's like, hey, this is what it's actually like to be an artist.
Yeah, and to your point, by the way, Dylan Tech.
Right.
And they have a
Yeah,
college
so,
too.
yeah. And it's got an art program.
Yeah, but they did make the only thing I liked about that storyline, about the Matt Saracen, they clearly had to get him out of town. They had to find a way to do it. I thought it was done a little bit ham-handedly, but the one thing I will say that I think it spoke to was the idea of like, oh, that's great, you're the best artist in this small town.
That does not mean anything.
What does that mean in the great big world?
Yeah.
And the answer is like probably not much.
Yeah.
I thought that was a storyline that spoke more to me in that way than I think. But it rung kind of like, we got to get him out of town. We got to get him out of the picture.
Yeah.
How do we do this?
I don't know if I would change. Yeah, I don't think I would change anything. I mean, aside from Becky, obviously,
Yes, that's
no, yeah, a lot of it was just really well done, and I was really satisfied with it.
It was a fun one. And as something we haven't mentioned either, if you hated these villains in this show, this was the most satisfying season ever.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they all get their comeuppance.
from the door slammed on them at the funeral or at the reception after the funeral.
Oh yeah,
to losing the game. I mean, the villains all lose.
Yeah.
it's
They really do.
It's great.
And it's amazing that you don't have to have a team go out there and be this unstoppable like force of nature to make a compelling.
Right. I mean, like the worst thing that happens is if you're on Tammy Taylor's side in that debate, she just takes a different job, which I don't
Yes.
care if she's the principal.
yeah.
Like, and I don't
As
care
a viewer, yeah, I don't.
as
care.
a viewer, I don't care if she wants to be the principal.
Right.
Like, just be on the show doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not that invested in it.
you're the best at telling people what they need to hear,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and like you can do that as
be a counselor.
doesn't
That's
matter.
fine. It's fine. How realistic was the Texas high school football on the field?
I thought that the Dillon versus East Dillon game was excellent
Mhm.
as far as realism.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that, again, really can't stress this enough, that Landry started kicking this season and he's going to bang through a 47.
45.
45 yard
He goes,
field goal.
be thankful it's not 47.
Yeah,
Guys,
that's
what he
that's
said.
what he
Guys,
said.
45
a
yards
long
in high
field
school.
If you said 40, it suddenly becomes it's a long field goal.
Yeah, it's still
Right.
long. It would
And
still be
it's-
like super impressive.
40
Right.
would be a miracle for Landry. 45 has his body been possessed by Christ?
Yeah,
I know.
Like
it was
how-
amazing. I'm like,
I will say
okay.
they built up
Into
to
the
it.
wind, too.
They built up to it nicely, like because they
He's
had him
always kinda
miss.
like-
they don't know if
yeah.
he's that great. He's made
Yeah.
some field goals, so it's
Yeah.
like they built up to it to where it's a big payoff, and you're like,
kicking's hard, guys.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Kicking's
like,
really hard.
That
Really
kept
hard.
it's like when they like.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm glad they made Landry a kicker.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot more. That's a lot
I thought,
more.
I thought he he was going to East Dillon. I was like, oh, is he gonna be the quarterback? I was like, I don't know what are they gonna do? And I was like, oh, okay, he's the punter and kicker.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
bad team, he's still he's
Yeah.
still just a punter and kicker.
So our grade would be
On the field, I mean, B plus.
B plus, B
B
plus, in the B's,
Okay.
in the B's.
How about our grade for the Texas high school football off the field? I feel like it's kind of still sitting around a C.
It is. It's just like a lot of the classification issues bother me. A lot of the
Size,
like.
how things are decided.
Yes, who?
Yeah.
What is the decision making structure in this town?
Yeah.
Like that stuff.
Yeah.
Buddy Garrity just decides he's going to start rooting for East Dillon suddenly. It was like, like I don't like he's. I
He's
don't
like
know.
painting his dealership for East Dillon, like he wouldn't lose half his customers.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Or no. Half his customers.
Yeah.
That's the poor side of
No,
town.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
He'd
you're
lose
right,
90% of his
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Though? It's just like this
Yeah.
idea. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be red and proud now.
Just
It's
like, no.
Not the way it works.
You want to secretly funnel money over to them.
Yeah,
Right,
think-
right. You don't wanna market
just,
yourself.
It just
Yeah.
continues to be hanging around that sea level of
Yeah.
like low sea, where it's just like there's just a lot of things.
It's got to
you
be. It's just all turned up a little bit too much for it to make sense, and some
Yeah.
details get a little
Correct.
too skipped over. All right, we got one season left here, series finale. What do you think happens next? I think obviously East Dillon is going to have a very good year next year. That's
I think
about
that
all I
they
know.
have to.
I think that's what we're building up towards.
I think they have to. Well, because here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
but like they knew that they got renewed for 2 years, and then by the time the last season rolled around, they knew that they were not getting another one.
I think so.
So they know
They had to wrap something up.
They
have to
know
wrap
it's
it
got to
up.
wrap it up, and I think that they know it's like we've got 2 years to tell a story.
Sure.
2 seasons to tell a story. I hope that they are going in a direction in that way where it's like, okay, I appreciate the idea that you have to build them into an underdog because like the weird thing about season 1 was that they were like a big time favorite, even though all of this crazy stuff happened in town during that season. Like they were actually like a favorite. They're the number 1 team in the country, according to some people, or at least in the state. You've now built an underdog.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're now going to pay that off in a way that maybe not a state championship run because I think that they've
That
kind
might be
of
too much.
But they're going to be good.
they're going to be good.
They're
They're going to be good. They're going to beat Dillon again. They're going to be like they're going to establish themselves as like the team in town.
I'm curious what they do with Coach Taylor in terms of like because they know the series is probably ending. Is it like does he get them to the playoffs maybe and then he goes back to college or something? Because Julie's gone now, presumably.
Or Landry finishes his work.
Maybe
Oh,
Landry.
ooh.
Maybe
Ooh.
Landry finally gets that final dot on that map he's got in his room.
Is it all just a web?
It's just
It's like connecting.
just like all these strings connecting.
Um,
Be like, killed this drifter over here.
but yeah,
Carcosa, Yellow King.
Santiago.
I was gonna do a Yellow King impression, but over here, little prince. But
That's it. This is actually this is not the Dex. I said before that this is not this is the Dexter universe.
It's in the True
That's not true.
Detective.
It's a True Detective. This is True Detective season 6.
but yeah, no, it's I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this series ends.
I'm actually excited about it.
Yeah.
Like after season 2, I wanted to die.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to die.
Yeah. That was the first season I went through. I was like, oh, I want to watch one more before I stop for the night.
Yes,
So,
first time.
all right.
Good job.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next week for that. And until then, don't care if you liked it. You made us do it, and here we are.
Yeah.